parasites in the bloodstream. The little round things are your red blood cells, and the little purple things are stained. Those look like trypanosomes, but they're a small parasite, right, that swims around in you. Now, all parasites are not in the bloodstream. Parasites encysted, and these are some pictures of encystment of parasites. Here's one in the muscle that could be like, there's a bunch of them that do that, but the classic one is the pork tapeworm and the pork trichinosis parasite that can encysted in the muscle like that. And then in the far right, we have a brain that has a little white lesion there. That's a parasitic cyst in the brain. And here's a guy that's obviously dead because this is a pathology specimen. And this is multiple cysts in the brain. The most common reason for that is cysticercosis, or it's a tapeworm that's very common in Mexico and in South America. So that's what it does to your brain. So the point is, we have to not only destroy the parasites that you could see in your stool sometimes or in your blood, but we must destroy the cysts. And here's how we do it. So, we need medicines. I love the fact that, remember George Carlin used to have the 7 words, dirty words you couldn't say on TV. And well, now you can say them all, but you cannot say nitazoxanide, chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, fenbendazole, or chlorine dioxide. In fact, you'll go to jail for chlorine dioxide. So anything I say from now on is not meant as official medical advice. This is what I do for myself. If it's an educational program, you can choose what you're going to do for yourself. Now, to get rid of parasites, I did this. I used 2 drugs. I used fenbendazole, which is Panacur C. That is the common drug that people take they go to the vet, and their vet does for their dog worming, right? We used to use that, and we still do, for farmers. They use it for cattle, and they used to worm themselves. But unfortunately, they're not worming themselves as much. Now, the other drug I use is nitazoxanide. Now, I'll tell you why I decided to use nitazoxanide. I chose those 2 drugs because fenbendazole gets into the brain and nitazoxanide takes out Hydra. One of the things, when I first saw that little creature that Carrie Made found under the slide that was moving, we both thought it looked like it could be Hydra or something like that. And I decided to look up Hydra. Hydra, it turns out, is a freshwater parasite that contaminates people's aquariums, and people use nitazoxanide to clean out the Hydra in their aquarium. So I looked up nitazoxanide. It turns out it's a super duper parasite drug. It gets rid of beef tapeworm 85% in 3 days. I had a senior chief in the Navy with beef tapeworm. He'd been treated for years. He finally just named it the tapeworm because we couldn't get rid of it. I mean, this stuff is awesome, nitazoxanide, but get this. There are 3 drugs on the remdesivir trial at the NIH, remdesivir, and then to make it look better, they added ivermectin and nitazoxanide. So I'd never heard of the drug until this whole thing came out, and I looked up aquariums, but it's a great drug. So I started with fenbendazole because I had it available, and I actually took the animal weight on the syringe. If you look at the Panacur C syringe, it looks like a great big plastic syringe, and you're going to squirt it in the mouth of your horse, right, or your cattle. So you go by weight, and I think it goes up to 1,250 pounds. So I set the little ring to give me the dose for a 150-pound animal, and I tried squirting it in my mouth, and it's kind of okay. You can do it. It tastes kind of chalky, or you can put it in a glass of water. I like that a little bit better and just wolf that down, but however you want to get it in. It is extremely safe. They have done 4 grams of one-time liquid fenbendazole to humans and without toxicity. None of this stuff is highly toxic. It's very well tolerated, okay? Now, so that was what I did, and I used these 2 drugs. Now, here's how I did it, okay? And here's why. So the first thing you have to understand, and this is why parasites are hard to get rid of, is that you have a mother parasite and you have baby parasites, right? The mother lays 20,000 to 200,000 eggs a day. While the mother is alive, those eggs don't hatch. But if you kill the mother, then you will have to then face the fact that the mother gives out a hormone, and now you're going to have to kill the babies, and you have to dissolve the cyst. So there's a lifetime program here that this cyclic therapy. And so use at least 2 drugs. So you're getting one into the brain at least, and you're getting one into the cysts, which is also fenbendazole does the brain and the cysts, and nitazoxanide is the best for gut parasites. That's my personal protocol. You might be able to do research and find a better combination. If you have ivermectin, I know ivermectin works, but I don't know as much about ivermectin and parasites as I do about ivermectin and COVID, and you can look that up. Okay, so this is why you cycle the treatment. So you start out with mother parasite and her babies, and the mother has laid these eggs and they're encysted in you. Now, the mother doesn't want to suddenly have to fight for 1 million baby parasites in order to not, in order to be alive in your gut or wherever she is. So she puts out a hormone that keeps the baby parasites from encysting or from coming out of the cyst and joining her, right? So she's by herself, she's laying all these eggs, and these things are sitting in their cysts, but their cysts are getting bigger. I mean, the cysts are getting more numerous all over your body. Well, then what happens? Well, then we kill the mother parasite. And what does that do? Well, that makes the hormone go away. And what does that do? That makes the parasite now hatch out. Now, if you go too long before you treat yourself again, you won't just have a few hatched out parasites. You'll have more and more parasites until you're really toxic. And that's a real problem. And that's called a Herxheimer reaction. And if you don't get a lot of detail, just I'm laying it out. I hope to be detailed, but this is the biggest issue I got to talk to you about, is why you have to cycle and how you cycle the parasite program. If you just take parasite medicine every day or once a week, it's not just randomly, it's not going to really do it. You have to take enough to kill the parasite, the mother parasite. Then you have to wait a specific waiting time until you do it again. And if you wait too long, you're going to have all these baby parasites hatch out, and then you're going to kill them at your next time you take the parasite medicine. And you will not be a happy camper, because what it does, these dead parasites in your body will give you an IgE histamine reaction. And that's what gives you cold. That's what cold is essentially. You're getting watery eyes, sneezing, and you can get muscle aches and pains and fatigue, and you can feel like you have, quote, the flu, but it's just dead parasites. This is why we have to change our speech, because it's all toxins, okay? Dead parasites are toxins, okay? So this is what happens. So the key is, don't wait too long. Now, let's say you take the drug, and after the very first time you take the drug, you start having this reaction. Then you need to cut down on the dose of the drug and go slower, or you have a rash. People say, oh, I took the drug and I got whatever it was, whether it was chlorine dioxide or any of these drugs. I took the drug and I got a rash. Well, you can switch drugs, but it's unlikely that it's an allergy to the drug. What happened is you're normally naturally allergic to dead parasites. That's what's happening. So every time you get a rash, think toxin, don't think disease. So here's how you cycle. You start with a very short cycle, okay? You're going to take the drug for 3 days and then 5 days off. At least this is what I would do. And then if you go too long off the drug, you may have a large hatch out. So you don't want to do this. So you take three days on. I took 3 days on, 5 days off. And then I gradually lengthened my cycle. So 3 days on, 7 days off, 3 days on, 10 days off. And then you watch for the reaction. Now, I can tell you, I am up to 3 days on. I've been doing this for 6 months or more. I'm still not at a month because I was riddled with parasites. 3 days on, and I'm 21 days off, but not quite a month. And even then, I'm getting a little bit of the sneezy kind of not feeling great reaction. So I'm staying at 21 days. I can live with what I'm getting. I can stay at 21 days, and hopefully I can lengthen it out. Because once you get to 3 days on and a month off, you're on maintenance then. And if you're not having any symptoms, and you've got them beaten down and you're on maintenance, but you never stop because you never completely are out in a parasite-free world, and especially now with the synthetic parasites. You need to do the short cycles for a minimum of a couple months in an adult.